Hi, my name is Jennifer Bringle. I am the design and small retail editor for Home News Now. We're a new trade site, homenewsnow.com, covering the home furnishings industry. So definitely check us out. And I am so excited to be here today with this incredible panel of talented designers for Build the Room, the virtual show house. And we just want to thank IMC for putting this on in conjunction with the Las Vegas market. So I'm going to get started by letting our panelists introduce themselves to you. I'll let you know who they are first. So we have Yannicka Ramzo of Tiny Little Pads, Jennifer Leonard of Nafel Design, Kate Lester of Kate Lester Interiors, Kira McSwain, Kimberly and Cameron Interiors, Carrie Kelly Design Lab, and Nicole Yee of Nicole Yee Interiors. So thank you all so much for joining us today and for all your hard work on the virtual show house. I'll just get started and we'll just kind of go in order and you can tell everybody a little bit about yourselves and about your business. I'll start with Yannicka.
My name is Yannicka Ramzo. I'm the founder and owner of Tiny Little Pads. It is a boutique design studio exclusively for children. We are located here in downtown Las Vegas, and we do playhouses, kids' interiors in general, their playrooms, nurseries, anything that is designed with the little ones in mind. We do 0 to 12 as far as age group, and we take on anything and everything throughout the country, even internationally.
Very cool. So next up we have Jennifer Leonard.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Leonard with Nafel Design Fine Interiors in Portland, Oregon. I also run a small boutique firm. We specialize in mostly older homes, although we do new construction as well. And I grew up in the design business. My mother had a large design firm. So I literally and traveling. And in 2005, when I needed to create a business name for my firm, I didn't just want to use my name, so I sentimentally used my my mother's corporation name, and she chose Nafel Design as her corporate name. When I was a little child, she took part of my first name, Jennifer, part of my middle name, Michelle, and formed Nafel. So I decided to adopt that in 2005, and it's been a great ride ever since.
Cool. All right, next up we have Kate Lester.
Hi guys. My name is Kate Lester. I am an interior designer, of course, and I own a boutique luxury interior design firm in Southern California. We're in Hermosa Beach. We do mostly luxury residential remodels, large scale, and new construction. And I also have a retail store, which is called Kate Lester Home, and that's online, and it's actually brick and mortar as well in Hermosa Beach. So really excited to be here. Thanks for having me. Good to see you again, Jennifer.
So next up we have Kia McSwain.
Hi everybody, I'm Kia McSwain. I am principal designer and owner of Kimberly and Cameron Interiors, and I also president the Black Interior Designers Network, where we collectively create resources and opportunities for Black interior designers around the United States and around the globe. So I am happy to be here with you guys today and looking forward to our chat today.
Great, thank you for joining us. And finally we have Nicole Yee.
Hi everybody, I am Nicole Yee. My business is NY Interiors. My initials, not stand for New York, it's for the Nicole Yee. And I'm based in Oakland, California, and I also work out of Kittery, Maine. And that's where I am today. So sending love to all my California people that are experiencing not the same fresh air that I'm getting here. So thinking of you all. I'm a residential interior designer. I focus on whole home remodels, do a lot of high-end kitchen and baths. And thank you for having me. Glad to be here today.
Yeah, and I just realized I skipped over Carrie Kelly. So
Carrie.
Carrie Kelly, sorry about that.
No problem. All good. I'm Carrie Kelly. I own Carrie Kelly Design Lab here in Sacramento, California. And we are a residential design firm specializing in new construction and full-blown renovation. But we also work with brands, a lot of the Las Vegas market brands, to create content and to work on product development for their lines. So we've really enjoyed that and appreciate you having us today.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us. You know, I know that this has been a really challenging year for everyone and all industries. You know, how have you all been navigating all these challenges with the pandemic and everything that's been going on, you know, with regard to your business? And if somebody wants to jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, having retail and a design firm, you have to be adaptable. That was like the number one thing that we jumped on right away was, it might be scary, but you've got to move more things online. You've got to, figure out how you can accommodate your employees and make sure everyone is safe, and how quickly can you get partitions set up. And I think if you're afraid to be adaptable, then you're going to be behind. And, sometimes it may be challenging during this time. You may be scared. We're all scared. We didn't know what was happening, but you kind of have to look past that and be the person that your employees can look up to and your clients can look up to and say, this is what's going to happen. If residential construction is still going, we're here for you. We're going. So if your check is still coming in, we're still coming to you. So I think for us, it was just being adaptable and figuring out how we can do what our clients and our employees expect from us. Whether we're scared or not, sometimes you just have to leave that at home and be the backbone and say, like, here we are, we've got this. Some days it's harder than others, I'm sure, for everyone. But I think just number one, adapting.
Yeah, we started much the same way early on in this situation. We were really getting the structure in place, especially on the virtual design front, and getting clients comfortable with that, and our processes really firmed up. And now it's like a rocket ship. I'm sure most of you are experiencing, everyone's in their home and they hate it, and they want it done in time for the holidays now, of course. And, we're really just leaning into that. And I think for all of us here, it could be one of the most profitable, oddly, the most profitable years we have, because we aren't traveling so much. We are doing some virtual design and then showing up when needed, and with all the goods. We're like little fairy godmothers that get to drop off all the good stuff and make everyone smile. So
Absolutely. Well,
I think for us, we got the opportunity to be able to really put some systems in place with that downtime and really just focus on all the things that we wanted to invest our time in and wanted to invest that energy in and wanted to invest that focus in, but hadn't been able to because we were running from this end of the country to this end of the country. So we were able to find some sort of benefit in calming down for just a little while. And now we're moving again, and it's exciting again.
Absolutely. Same here. Spent a lot of time documenting my processes that I had never had time to put in writing before. So felt great to get organized. And then, like Carrie said, the fact that people are really sick of their surroundings, the phone started ringing again, and I'm very busy, back in full swing.
Yeah, I ditto everything. And I had a client just recently say, when I pulled up, she said, Jennifer, I've decided that when your car pulls up, it's like the ice cream truck. Only good things come out. I thought that was pretty great.
Yeah.
Well, so I would love to talk to you all about your virtual rooms for the virtual show house. I know we have some images that we're going to share here as you guys talk. I'm going to start with Yannicka. If you want to just tell everyone a little bit about how you approached your room designs for the virtual house and what were some of the primary goals that you had for the space.
I think for anything that you design for children, you need to put the practical aspect into it. Items needs to be multifunctional. Typically, there's not a lot of room in a kid's room. So the fact that you do pick pieces that are multifunctional is one of my top priorities. So Typically, we start with a feature design, being a back wall or a bedroom. It's typically the bed. In this case, we did a little different approach, and we started with the multifunctional pieces. I wanted to design a room that was sophisticated yet practical, and we took it up a notch by designing it specifically for a big girl room. So this was designed as her transitioning from the crib to her first big girl bed. The pieces we started with was, surprisingly enough, the ottoman that you see sitting under the table or the desk in this scenario. Having pieces with lids and the opportunity to put toys and all the clutter that we typically find in children's rooms away from eyesight. The ottoman or the bench in front of the bed that you see here also opens and can host a lot of toys and everything that typically falls on the floor during the day. So we started with those two, having the clutter removed and out of eyesight. We moved to the bed. I wanted to do a upholstered bed. Typically the crib is a hard surface piece for most babies, and in this era of SIDS, we tried to take all the soft part away. So when I design a room going from crib, toddler, baby into big kids rooms, I try to add all the softnesses that we have not been able to use in the baby stage. So a poster bed was big for me for this room. Next came the wallpaper that we typically start with in general design spaces, but that was definitely the backdrop that I wanted to see all around the room on all four walls. There's a little side table that was intended to go on one side of the bed. That is the quote unquote typical nightstand. And then on the other side would be the desk that also duals as a makeup, a little color rendering space. And it also has doors that you could put little things away with. We added a table lamp on the desk so that, again, it's not just a desk space, but it looks a little bit more dressed up. And the shape of it mimicked the shapes that you're finding in the wallpaper as well. Added a little bit of a mirror reflection, always adds size to the room. So I always try to incorporate that even into kids spaces. And we topped it off with this amazing chandelier that kind of brought all the elements together.
So Jennifer, we're going to move on to your room now.
There it is. Yeah, so we were asked to design a master bedroom. And I think our goal from the get-go was to have it be calming and soothing and comforting. I think that's always important in bedrooms, but also to still feel fresh and kind of light. I feel like that's extra important during these times. So usually I start with a rug. I love hand knotted rugs. I think they're just such great quality and so cleanable. I often have clients say, oh, I don't want to spend a lot on a rug. And I think you either go super cheap on a rug, so it's really literally disposable, or go for a good hand knot that has a lot of its natural lanolin in it, because it's so cleanable with kids and pets, and it's great. So I feel like that's kind of an investment. So I usually start with a rug and build up from there. However, I will say in this room, I really started with the Korean company Forest Light chandelier featured there in gold leaf. It is absolutely a stunning piece of art, really. I am lucky enough to have the silver leaf version in my master bedroom, and it is literally dripping with quartz crystals. So I feel like it brings this natural element in with the forest branches, but yet also this beautiful piece of nature and a little bit of glamour with all of those quartz crystals dangling off of it. It's just a stunning piece. So I knew that was where I wanted to start with this space. I love adding wallpaper, as witnessed behind me in my office. Pretty much I would wallpaper every surface if possible, but I stayed pretty calm in here with a nice natural grass cloth from Winfield Tyboni through Cravat. And then probably the next inspiration piece was that Oli bed. I love that bed. I love the finish on it. I love the nod to the equestrian with the horse hoof legs. My conference room table is the dining table version of that, which I'm sitting at right now. I grew up riding horses competitively, and that bed just really, that whole design from Oli just really speaks to me. We went with a dresser from Palachuk. It's from Jeffrey Allen Mark's new collection, relatively new collection for Palachuk, and I love the whitewashed finish on that. It has a really soft but natural feeling to it. I love that chaise from Arteriors, the Turner chaise. I think that's just glamorous and divine, a perfect way to kind of end your day there. And we put a nice soft Lee Jova, but actually cleanable indoor-outdoor fabric. That's the little square beside it. We thought that would be lovely on it to add some texture, and also very cleanable. So if you're maybe, drinking wine and reading a book at night and have a spill, no problem. So yeah, I just, that was our goal, kind of a fresh, but a little bit sassy space.
Okay. So Kate, you're up next.
Hey, hi. Okay, yes. So we were asked to do the living room, which is always fun because I love doing showcase houses, especially virtually, because they're free. So that makes it better. And a showcase house, you guys know how expensive it is to do. The first thing I wanted to do here was really just not take ourselves too seriously, right? Like I want to push all the boundaries when we do a showcase house so that people, designers, people are coming through, regular people are saying, wow, I never would have done that, insert anything, and I love it. So I think the first thing I did was actually start with a wall covering. I picked a few different options, but settled on this one from Tem Paper. Their stuff is so fun. My wallpaper guy hates them because it's removable, but it's so easy, right? For kids, for people who can't decide. They have some great patterns and they have great collaboration. So I thought that one was very fun. Love the color, love the pattern. It's not too serious. And then we went straight for the weird art. I love a good abstract piece. I think something that's oversized or scaled really helps anchor the room. For people who don't have a lot to say about art and maybe it doesn't speak to them and they're not ready to invest, Delano has some great pieces that are just so impactful that look like they maybe could have been a piece in a gallery, and maybe these people, your clients, have much more art knowledge than they really do. So I think a great abstract piece that sort of ties everything together is a wonderful investment. Again, we added, you can't really see it in this image, but we added a fantastic sort of spider inspired light fixture from Circa. Circa is the bomb. We love them. They have all the great light fixtures. And then if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I love me some vintage, and we are so lucky right now because vintage is cool. So, I was using vintage when vintage was not cool, and I was the lady at the garage sale, right? So right now, companies like Noir and Creative Co-op, Mercana, they're all bringing in these really great pieces, like the safari chairs here from Noir. They're replicas, so they're probably a much lower price point than, say, something you would find on First Dibs, which will make your clients super happy. And also they still come in these great vintage inspired colors and fabrics, like this peach leather, which of course I had to use because what client is gonna let me use a peach leather, so I love this. And then again, picking pieces with personality, I think is so important in our designs regardless, but especially in a showcase house. So the coffee table from Dovetail with the interesting legs and the terrazzo top, and then the side tables, like, if you're gonna take a risk anywhere, throw in a cool side table. And then accents, we sell a lot of Creative Co-op and Mercana at our retail store. They have so much great pottery that looks like it could be vintage, but the price point is not vintage. So you can mix some high-low in those shelves. Like, I'm not afraid of a good Target find or a good Creative Co-op find. Okay, ladies, like, let's do this. It's 2020, like, good stuff is just good stuff. So, and then again, we grounded everything with a rug and some pillows from Leloy. and an amazing sofa from Four Hands. And yes, you can have nice things like a white sofa, even if you have children. Four Hands and so many other companies are doing these great performance fabrics. So I say, you know, like long gone are the days of everybody having a charcoal sofa because it's durable. So let's lean in, let's get those white fabrics back in homes, and, you know, thank God for technology. So that's the story of our room, and thanks for letting us do it.
So Kia, you're up next.
Hi, that's my space. Okay, so this space was really fun to create. I wanted to create a space that I was inspired by at the moment. I wanted to create a space that doubled as both a fully functional family space and a minimalist renewal space for all the moms that need to get away and need a drink and need somewhere to hide out in luxury. And so I created a space that could be ideal for someone to create if they were looking to do so, even though we had no budget limitations. For me, in creating spaces, I start with a focal point. I start with a piece. It could be a bowl. It could be anything in the space that grabs my attention or might grab the client's attention. In this case, it was the armoire by Salamet, and I fell in love. I'm really on this whole kick with anything cane, any cane back, any cane front, any caning of any sort. And so I paired that together. And for me, my main challenge to myself was just making sure that I didn't limit myself when it came to mixing my elements and pulling those pieces together. It was a lot of fun to pull together. We worked with Left Bank for the artwork for the pieces. I love the portrait art. I love the abstract, and I just kind of wanted to do something different. That color, that green represented renewal, and I think at the time we were asked to do this, I was kind of shedding skin. You know, we had all kind of gone through that panicking phase about what is going on, and so I was creating something that was able to bring me forth from a place of fear to a renewal space where I broke out, and that's what you have there, what we see.
Beautiful.
Okay, well, next up we have Carrie Kelly.
Well, I know you probably already guessed it, but we wanted to really have a California casual vibe. And typically for me, we start by setting the backdrop, whether that's underfoot or on the walls. If we want to go back one page, you can see that we chose, well, here too, the Sherwin-Williams paint for some paneled walls. Just to set the tone and have a sense of, like you were saying, Kia, renewal, a little lightness, brightness, freshness, while still having contrast with that white tone as well and a lot of the other trim areas. We went to our tried and true vendors, the ones that we know and love and specify in our real life projects. So you'll see a Fiber Works rug underfoot. You'll see a lot of elements from Four Hands, especially with the reclaimed wood and the metal pieces. We also love Circa or Visual Comfort, however you want to, whatever category you want to put them in, but they're always shedding light on our design for sure, illuminating what we're doing. And then you'll see the natural or linen or even hide products, giving that organic feel, organic element to the whole project. I don't know how many other pages you have. I know there was one, we had an artwork wall, really wanting to show, we have the lounge. So we were asked to do an office, and we kind of took it next level in the way that we're really working from home. And that means there's going to be kids there sometimes, and then there's going to be your husband who talks too loud, and there's going to be us who have samples all over the place. So there was a desk area that was included for children. This inspiration wall to keep everyone feeling creative. And then the lounge where you could just have your laptop in your lap and maybe sit by the fire depending on where you live. and do some work in a space that you might not normally, and kind of get away from it all at the same time. So a lot of handmade elements incorporated. We love Go Home. They're one of our licensed friends. We have the Blonde Fox collection there, so we have to merchandise with their products for sure. And yeah, you can flip back and forth. I'm happy to speak to any of it, but you know, Wendover has been a great partner of ours as well, and we love putting the mix in there. Some things that are serious and some things that are a little bit more playful that are going to give you a little giggle at the same time, especially during a moment like this.
Thank you. All right, so next up we have Nicole Yee.
Hi, so my approach, really I approach the creation of my room the same way I approach attending markets in person. I seek out all the new introductions and I look for the pieces that are striking or unique, but also it's very important for me to find pieces that fit my criteria of style that endures. So I try to steer away from trendy or you know, sort of flash in the pan pieces because I want my clients to love their space for a long time. So you know, always seeking out that sort of long-term livable luxury, I like to think of it as. So I call this room classic 1930s glam meets laid back California eclectic. To me, I don't necessarily always start with a coffee table, but that's where I happen to start in this particular room. I love this piece from Noir. It's modern and Moroccan and solid and timeless and sort of all of those things all at once. So I just figured that that could go in so many rooms. And I like taking a very neutral room, but then enlivening it with that contrast of black. So that's really what I've done here, popped in a little bit of soft color, but I think the black is gives a graphic boldness to sort of pop up the room and make it feel, this is a family room. So I picture, you know, music playing and lively conversation. I placed a number of chairs in the space. I think having a lot of chairs in a room is a great way to make the space dynamic. So you can move things around for game time or conversation, or depending on if it's, you know, just the family at home, or if you're entertaining, you might, I don't know, clear them out off to the side for a dance floor. But I like the flexibility. So I introduced a pair of the Arteriors rattan chairs here. Just love the shape of these chairs. They're called the Eleanor lounge chairs. That also happens to be my daughter's name. So that was an easy draw for me. And so they're cool and comfortable. They're almost pieces of art in and of themselves. And then, of course, the Thayer Coggin sofa was an easy choice. Clean, inviting, comfortable looking. I like that it's an environmentally friendly choice. I think we should all be trying to lean into those choices where we can these days. And then the black and white chair is Palachek, as is the light fixture. That's a really fun light fixture, actually. It's indoor outdoor, so lots of opportunities, I think, to use that chandelier. I love the oversized shape and the seagrass texture. And I have always been drawn to figurative art. So the art piece I placed over the sofa, that is a Wendover piece. Again, it's another piece that has that sort of duality for me, where it's a modern take on a very classic style. So it's sort of modern and abstract and classic and timeless all wrapped into one. So I love finding pieces at market that can work all those angles. It really has a broad appeal for clients, and I think for standing the test of time. I love quirky little elements. That's one of the reasons I loved the Noir table. I loved the Curry and Co. lamp with its little spiky sides. I don't know if it reminds me more of an animal or what, but it's just, I thought it was really fun, and I love adding just little pieces of texture and surprise elements. They don't have to be shocking or wildly over the top, but just those little threads of quirkiness I love to pull through a design. And then, of course, you know, layers are important. So I introduced the hide candle, the beautiful pillow from Aldrin Tweed, and that is an Annie Selke jute rug.
All those are also beautiful. You know, when you're working in a virtual show house, you have a very generous budget. So if you were creating one of these rooms for a client, what are some of the changes that you would possibly make, or are there things that you would maybe add, you know, for a client space?
I think that all depends on what the client's budget is. For me, that room and that budget is about ideal for a client. You know, I'm not sure if they would marble the floor and take it all the way up the walls, but for the items that I sourced for the space, you know, they're ideal for a client. Yeah.
We did a similar situation where we really wanted to share the brands that we truly use and the products that we really love and highlight those and show how they can be layered upon each other. If there was a budget in mind, I feel like all of us on this panel as designers, that's where our value comes in, and we can say, well, pull back here and then let's add here, or let's get the Target item, Kate, and, and that for this other. And
I got love for Target, you guys.
Yeah, that's where we come in to help make these decisions.
Absolutely. I think once a basic concept like this is built, then and using the optimal selections, then it's easy for the client to see that framework, and then you can plug in more or less expensive items. But when you have the whole basic structure in place, then that's a good jumping off point.
It's also really about like, oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Go ahead, Monica.
No, at Tiny Little Pads is we design for children in particular. So some pieces you will go through more frequently than you would in an adult space. But we always design spaces based on items that I personally have tried with my own kids, and I know they stand up the test of time. But we never have a budget limit. It doesn't matter if the budget is high or the budget is low. We design based on what we want the client to have and the items that will last them. So even if we do a project with a very high budget, the overall look never will tell you if it was high or low, and that's always for us.
Yeah, I would ditto again all of those things. We chose pieces that we have used and vendors that we love, and we spent a lot of time going to markets in Las Vegas as well as High Point, so that we're very familiar with, you know, the look and the quality and the scale. A lot of times that's difficult to do online. So I think there's a huge value in going to markets and seeing, you know, the real items and feeling and touching them. In our design, I think we had a lot of kind of all price points featured in the design. And I do try to do that in our real life projects, you know, splurge on some areas so that we can save on other areas. And in our master bedroom we designed, for example, you know, the mirrors, I love the look of those mirrors, and those are from Uttermost. And I always tell my clients when I present something that is super affordable, I say, this is basically free. And then I have to explain what's free in Jenniferland, because, and my staff always tells me that we should Wikipedia Jenniferland because it's a very specific, I'm sure all of you interior designers understand that land, right? But I always do like to throw in some free in Jenniferland products to balance out, you know, for example, the completely worth it, but, you know, Curry & Company quartz light fixture that is worth every single penny.
I think if you explain to your clients, we like to say that we want to be a good steward of your money, right? And I come from a finance background, so that is actually really important to me. I left corporate America to do this. So, you know, we're not curing cancer. We are literally making houses pretty, which is what my 5-year-old tells me every day. So I think it's important to explain to your clients that, you know, you have put this budget together thoughtfully, and there is some high-low in there probably, but you can't go in and take out all the high because then it's just low. So we make sure that we explain that the rooms are designed cohesively, and when that high-low mixes together, it's amazing. But if you take out the high and it's just below, you gotta have the high too. So that's the goal, right? You gotta mix in your Curry & Company with your Target, or else it's just Target.
That's right.
Together your own homes, you know, what are some must-haves in your homes? I think people always want to know, like, how designers, you know, approach their own spaces. What are some must-haves that you all have for your own spaces?
For me, I switch out my throw pillows quite often. Find really cool fabrics, send it over to my workroom, and I'm always coming through chopping and filling up those. I love my throw pillows. I spend a lot of time on my sofa or in the bed, and those spaces say something. They speak, right? We can't really change the color of the sofa, but you can change those colors, usher them in and out, depending on how you feel, how the season changes, so on and so forth. So for me, it's my pillows.
For me, it's collected pieces, whether that's from our travels or the books you see behind me. We live with a lot of books, but I think that tells the story of who's there, and those elements are things that you can't open up a magazine and say, oh, that's where she got it. It's more telling the story, and you get a real sense of that coming into the space.
I agree. We like the weird art at our house. Yeah. So I'm in a rental house on Catalina Island right now, so this is not my design. But I think for us, we shop a lot of flea markets and art, you know, street vendors and things. So I would much rather someone come into my home and say, like, that is so weird that you have 2 sumo wrestlers wrestling in a pencil sketch. And I was like, oh yeah, I got it here, and this is why, and this is the story. And they don't have to like it, but they're talking about it, right? So it's invoked a response, a visceral response to people. And whether that's good or bad, I don't actually care. It's better than it being so boring that they don't even remember what art I had. So I love the idea of collected pieces, vintage pieces, things that speak to you. When our clients have those, we always try to incorporate them, even if they're terrible. We'll try to like figure out a way to work them in, because those are the things that, you know, you give a little bit and then you can get that Curry & Company chandelier. So I think, you know, meaningful pieces is really where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those vintage, collected, flea market finds, to me, those are the quirky elements that I'm totally drawn to. I think they're what give a house some soul. So in my home in Oakland, I dismantled a pedestal table that had claw feet, and I attached those to the desk in my kitchen, and everyone that comes in has a reaction to it, whether it's, well, that's really strange, or I love it. But that quirky thread pulling it through, it really is what makes a space interesting and personal. And I think that's not only important for me in my own home, but definitely what I want to impart with my clients as well.
I'm going to speak to children in my home. I have 3 of them myself. So for me and for us as a family, sleep is very important. So bedding and mattresses for kids is one of my top priorities. We have 5 Little Monkeys represented at the market as well. And they are a brilliant company that caters specifically to how children sleep and adjusting their temperature. So bedding, the mattress itself is important to me, so is the bedding. In our design, we did Pom Pom at home, an amazing company again that does linens that are breathable, and a lot of people are afraid of linens for children's bedding up until you educate them about what that material actually does and how durable it is, and it's actually more cleanable and easy to clean than most people think.
I will say that I was thinking linens for grown-ups is one of my most favorite things, actually. I think luxury bedding is so worth every penny. You know, none of us spend enough time in bed, but the time we spend, you know, should be restful and beautiful, but also, you know, exceptionally comfortable. So I think luxury bedding is definitely worth the investment. I would also say original art, kind of going along with the antique and collected things. I have a lot of original art in my home, and I help our clients source a lot of original art and pieces that you know, that they're drawn to and that mean something to them. And I just think the love and the craftsmanship that goes into original works of art, whether that's sculpture or paintings or pottery, is just really meaningful and gives homes a lot of character.
Thinking about hopefully when all of these crazy things that are happening right now with this pandemic kind of wind down and maybe we get back to a little bit more of a normal existence, you know, what are some of the things that y'all are looking forward to, you know, product wise, any kind of new technologies you're using, anything that you know, you're looking forward to, you know, getting out there and being able to use once things kind of get a little bit more normal again?
For me, I just miss being hands-on.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't have any preference or specific technology I'm after. I just want to be hands-on like I used to be. Now I've taken up cutting pieces out of books and catalogs again, which is fun, but being hands-on is really what I'm looking forward to most.
I think our reps have been
market.
Yeah. Our reps have been amazing in supporting us. I mean, we have like a masked porch party and see all these new samples, and it's one way to see new product. But I think all of us have the personalities probably that we're much different when the mask is off. And to be able to reveal our true spirit and personality as designers will be a real relief, especially we're just communicators in that way and problem solvers, and all of this is part of it, and virtually is just much different than in real life.
Well, when you're thinking about design, and you know, there's obviously a lot of flexibility in what you do, but what are some you must never break this rule design rules that you all adhere to?
We don't ever use wood tile, like tile that looks like wood that's not wood because it's tile, because it's not wood. So that's it's either tile or it's wood. It's not both. So that would be a no-no. And whenever we hire someone new in the office and they'll share something, we have a lot of rules. I'll just do that one. But you know, everyone will be like, is it your first day? Because we don't do that here. So I think it's good to have rules. You should have your own. And even like if your rule is different than my rule, it's okay. Like live your rules. Your clients pay you to be an expert, and they pay you to have quirks and be weird and go, ew, no, that they love it. So I don't know. I think when people are like, oh no, I don't have any nose, I'm cool. I'm like, I have lots of nose.
Sure.
Embrace your nose. No wood tile.
For us here at Tiny Little Pads, the rule is actually have no rule, because there are really, or there shouldn't be any rules as far as design goes. So be as creative as the children that you are designing for. That is the way to go, and have them be included. I always invite my little clients to the first design meeting. Because I want to learn how they are thinking and how creative they truly are, and then design based on the feedback that you got from them.
That's great.
Yeah, like Janica, I have no rules. I'm like, we can take this thing as far as you want to take it. Yeah.
The thing I stay focused on, and maybe I sound like a broken record at this point, but I do, the one thing is, picking a style that will endure. So really digging in and figuring out what does this client love and what are they going to continue to love, and stick within that framework. So as long as it's you know, hitting on what really makes them happy personally, then beyond that, just go with the flow. But I think it's important to stick with what's going to last and not have them turn around and be sick of it in a year or less, or 2 years. So I think that's an important piece of it. But otherwise, break all the rules. Why not?
Yeah,
We believe in. Oh, go ahead. No, go, Jennifer. You always end up last. Go.
I was just going to say that I feel like I really believe strongly that I want our clients' homes to be the best reflection of themselves. I don't want other, you know, people to go in and say, "Oh, did Nafel design and did Jennifer do this space?" You know, I really want it to feel wonderful to them and to feel like them. And I feel like we just help them elevate those decisions and give them good choices that reflect their individual personalities and the way that they live. So I am careful. There's many times, probably every job I've gone into, you know, you'll see something and think, "Oh my goodness, I hope that doesn't need to stay in the space." And in fact, just last week we were at a new client's home, and she said, "Okay, you know, I've been in this house, you know, for 20 years. They custom designed it, and this living room, great room has never been right. But there's a few things I really want to keep." And unfortunately, one of the things she said was just terrible. It was this like giant, awful chair. It was terrible. It was totally wrong in every single possible way. And so I, you know, talked about other things and, you know, waited till we were a little bit longer in the conversation, and then just said, "Okay, well, so can you tell me what is it about this chair, you know, that makes you happy and that, you know, you need it to stay in the space?" And in working through that conversation with her, by the time I left, she was totally fine not having that chair in the space. But certainly in other circumstances, another client I can think of, when I met with her, I'm now working on her third home, so this was probably a decade ago, but up in this guest room, she had this rug that was, it's Chinese, it's very traditional, but it's honestly, you know, not a lovely piece. And I asked that same question. So tell me a little bit about this rug. And it was purchased when she was with her mother on a trip, and her mother is deceased and died pretty early. And, you know, so that's a super sentimental piece to her. So we just completely redesigned the guest room, and that's the only piece that stayed. And it's lovely. I mean, it was photographed in Lex magazine. It's a beautiful space. And yet, you know, it still stays meaningful for her. So I think it's important to work with clients' pieces, you know, if it's something really important to them, so that their space still feels like them, except for really giant, ugly chairs.
Agreed. And we love to have a statement wall, but for some reason, and you gals will have to tell me if I'm crazy, we don't do accent walls.
No.
Like, you paint the whole room, or you wallpaper the whole room, or nothing at all.
Yes.
I can't do it. So it looks like you
So big.
So we just don't do that. That's our big no.
Big no.
Yeah, big ditto, big ditto.
So we're almost out of time. I'm going to last question. You know, how are you guys keeping your creativity flowing during a time when, you know, we're so restricted as far as travel and things that we can do?
Rosé.
I'm out in nature a lot. I'm so lucky to live in the Pacific Northwest, and I love hiking. We do a lot of hiking on weekends, and I'm also lucky I'm in the city, but we're on 3/4 of an acre, and I have this really old 1914 historic garden and koi pond and waterfalls, and I love any chance I get to be just outside and, you know, fussing in my garden and moving things around and deadheading, and, you know, it's a lot to take care of out there, but it just brings me a lot of joy to be connected and be outside. So that's my kind of constant inspiration, COVID or not.
Yeah, me too.
I just started traveling again. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Kayla.
I just started traveling again, but like you, Jennifer, I'm here in Denver, and my friends got me into hiking, and I love it now, and they can't pull me out. And I'm like, that is how I'll spend outdoors time being inspired, by hiking. And I love it. So inspiration is drawn from all corners, from you guys, from social media,
Yeah.
from the magazines that clothiers keep sending. I mean, it's from every turn. And so I just soak it all up.
We broke out the coffee table books too. So we went all back into, in our studio, we went back to, the books that have always inspired us, but we've been too busy to open them, and they sit on the island or in the shelves, and, they look great when clients come in like, oh, you guys have so many books. So we open them now, and we're looking through them, and we're tearing things out, because unfortunately on Pinterest, sometimes you're just seeing the same 30 images over and over. I mean, you can go deep, but it takes time. So I think for us, we're sort of looking for different outlets and being able to find, really unique inspiration images for people instead of the same things that they're seeing on their social media. So that too. And of course, traveling when you can, again. Right.
Yeah. On that note, same thing, Kate. I love having inspiration that's a little bit further out, like when we go to Salone and Milan and we get kind of 3 years ahead of things. And I'm not a big TV person, so I've been following Fashion Snoops, and they have these free webinars that are amazing, and it feels more along that line, a little bit ahead of its time. And it's fashion and home. And so mashing those up, as you all do so well, has been really fun. And then as soon as I close this laptop, I'm going to the beach. So I'm with you girls that love to travel and get out in nature.
My Bloody Mary is like off screen over here.
Monica, I think you were you had something to say.
I think with this pandemic, I think we are, like a lot of you ladies have spoken about in the seminar, I think after it's all said and done, I think it's hands-on again. We're all going back to the books and the magazines and the actual samples. And I personally have subscribed to more magazines than there are probably magazines on the racks in the grocery stores right now. That's where I find my inspiration, because I want to be hands-on again. I want to flip a page and get all those images, like Kate said, are not on Pinterest and Instagram and so forth. So I think there's been a tremendous growth in the magazine sales as a result of this pandemic. And I think it's going to continue as we go back to more normal to hands-on.
So we do have one question that I see from the audience. This is from a Howard University Interior Design Online. What tips would the panelists share with emerging professionals in maneuvering through the various markets and building their professional networks? So I know it's a little different now with COVID, but as things start to normalize again, how would you all advise someone, just coming up to build their network?
I would say utilize this time by going through and figuring out what style, what vendors, what price points you want to shop, what you want that vendor booklet to look like, what it needs to feel like, how it's going to speak to you, the clients. Make sure that is something that you know where you want it to go, because then you can then crawl into the next phase of networking and really getting your feet to the ground. But as long as you know your style and what you want your brand to say, I think you're off to a good start from there.
I think if you want to start your own company, if that's your plan, this is a great time to take those small jobs. Everybody hates their house right now. So there are hundreds of people, thousands, millions of people out there saying, I just need a guest room done. And maybe a more established company isn't going to do something like that. We only do bigger projects, right? So I think the market is there. This is actually a great time to be just starting out on your own and saying, well, I will do your guest room, and I have a great price point, and I need those photographs, and I need that, so get your hustle on and get there, wear that mask, do those measurements. We all, I'm assuming, have done that, done every job and taken out the trash and done the presentation board. And I think this is the great time to put in the work and get all those photographs and get that experience. So then when those jobs maybe start to dry up, then you have that wealth of knowledge already and you can start requesting those larger projects. So I say just start small. And, you know, a lot of people ask on Instagram all the time, like, how do you get these big projects? Well, you don't in the beginning. So chill and you'll get there. So we say, trust the process, and you keep doing what you're doing. You keep being you, and find your niche and find those clients and give them a reason to hire you. And I think then, you know, you trust the process and it'll go. But take those small jobs and get those guest rooms. Go, go, go.
I also think that being a startup or a student at this point, don't be afraid to ask. Get with us as designers. Shoot us a DM through Instagram, whatever platform you are on, and explain your stories, that you're new, you're looking for opportunities, you're looking for someone just to talk to, because it seems scary to reach out to people that are established in our industry already. But I bet you that you will get an answer if you are you and honest with your intention.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all
Joining
the
a
time.
national, oh, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to add that joining a national design, the Interior Design Society, for example, I've been a member for a very long time. I have a wonderful network of people that I now call friends. I call them, I lean on them, and it's a wonderful way to just double check yourself or to get some additional expertise. So I think that would be a good time to join something like that now too.
Well, we're out of time, but I just want to thank all of our wonderful panelists. This has been such a great discussion. I've so enjoyed talking with you today, and I know everyone watching at home has enjoyed it as well. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for having
Bye,
us.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Nice to see you all.